The island appeared at dawn as a green and silent blot on the dark sea. From the deck, Odysseus looked at it with the caution of someone who has learned that beauty can also be a trap. There was no smoke from huts or voices of fishermen, only thick forests, a strip of pale sand, and deeper within, a height crowned by a shining house, as if the sun had become trapped between its walls. "We will descend carefully," he ordered. He chose a few men to scout the terrain. Among them was Eurylochus, always alert, always distrustful, one of those companions who preferred prudence to glory. They rowed to the shore and walked among fragrant thickets, where the branches seemed to lean in to spy on their passage. It wasn't long before they found strange signs. Tracks of large animals, yes, but no signs of hunting. And yet, the wolves and lions of the forest did not roar. On the contrary, they approached gently, like dogs waiting for the caress of an invisible hand. Eurylochus felt the hair on his skin rise. Then they saw Circe's mansion. It had light stone columns, polished wooden doors, and a courtyard where unknown birds sang. From within came the sound of a loom and a feminine voice, sweet as freshly poured honey. The sorceress stepped to the threshold dressed in a radiant cloak. Her beauty was not that of a fragile girl, but that of a queen who knows secrets too ancient to be told. She smiled upon seeing them, raised her hand in greeting, and invited them to enter without fear, as if they had arrived at the home of a long-awaited friend. She offered them red wine in golden cups, cheese, flour, and a steaming meal that smelled of the countryside and dreams. The men, exhausted from the sea and dazzled by such hospitality, accepted without suspicion. But Eurylochus, before crossing the threshold, saw how Circe's smile became a momentary stillness, like that of a statue. Too late. When the men drank, a shiver ran through their bodies. Their shoulders hunched, their voices broke into grunts, their hands curled into clumsy hooves. One fell to his knees, another began to root in the ground. Their skin was covered with coarse bristles, and where there had once been human eyes, two round, frightened glimmers remained. Circe, calm, touched each one with a wand and pushed them into a mud pen, as if it were not cruelty, but a domestic custom. Eurylochus did not wait to see more. He ran among the trees panting, not daring to look back. Fear nipped at his heels, but the terror of staying there was worse. He reached the ship with a disheveled face and a broken voice. Upon seeing Odysseus, he fell to his knees. "Let's leave this island," he exclaimed. "Our men have disappeared. The woman in the house is not a woman. She is a sorceress. She gave us drink and sweet words, and then turned them into pigs. I saw them, Odysseus. I saw them with my own eyes. Their voices still came from their snouts." The hero clenched his jaw. He looked toward the land, toward the house hidden among the trees, and the wind brought him, very faintly, a moan that seemed human. Then he fell silent, but his fingers already sought the hilt of his sword. Odysseus did not lose a moment. He donned his cloak, tightened his belt, and grasped his sword, while Eurylochus pleaded with him not to set foot in that cursed house. But the hero's face, hard as a ship's prow against the storm, showed no sign of retreat. If his men were groaning inside a pen, he would not be the one to hide on the beach. He crossed the path among tall trees, where the breeze stirred the leaves like invisible fingers. The silence was so thick that each step felt like an offense. Then, beside a laurel, he saw a young man with a lithe figure and strange bearing, so serene that he seemed not to belong to the earth. His gaze was lively and clear, and in his hand he held a staff with two intertwined serpents. "Odysseus," said the stranger in a soft voice, "you are heading toward a trap woven by a woman who masters poisons and forms. But you are not defenseless." The hero sized him up from head to toe, with the caution of one who has learned to distrust even celestial gifts. "If you are a god, speak plainly. If not, get out of the way." The young man barely smiled. It was Hermes, messenger of the immortals, swift as thought. With a calm gesture, he uprooted a small plant with a black root and white flower, fragile to the eye but extraordinary in its essence. It is called moly. Take it with you. When the sorceress mixes her words with her cup, she will not defeat you. Her charm will crash like a wave against rock. Odysseus took the herb. As he brought it closer to his hand, he felt a strange tremor, a coolness that ran from his fingers to his chest, as if someone had ignited an invisible flame within him. "And if she tries to harm you," Hermes added, "Draw your sword without hesitation. Surprise will be your best shield." With that, the god vanished into the midday light, leaving behind barely a shimmer in the air. Odysseus advanced alone to the mansion. The door was open, as if the house awaited its prey with infinite patience. He entered a spacious hall with high ceilings and gleaming walls. There, among looms and golden goblets, appeared Circe. Her beauty was neither warm nor human. It was cold, majestic, precise, like a portent dressed in silk. Her large, deep eyes seemed to know in advance the names of all the men who had fallen before her. "Welcome, stranger," she said with a sweet voice that enveloped like smoke. "No outsider reaches my table without tasting my hospitality." She poured the potion into a shining cup. Odysseus took it without drinking immediately, and while Circe smiled, he hid the moly between his fingers. The aroma of the vessel was tempting, laden with honey, cheese, and something darker, something that brushed against memory like a claw. When he finally drank, Circe touched his shoulder with her wand and uttered ancient, thick words meant to twist the souls of men. But nothing happened. The sorceress barely frowned. She tried again. Her lips moved more quickly, her gaze sharpened like a blade. Yet still, Odysseus did not yield. The power meant to bend him slipped off like rain on bronze. Then the sword came out of the sheath with a dry flash. Odysseus stepped forward, firm, with the plant still clenched in his free hand. "You will not touch my men or me," he said. "Undo your work right now." For the first time, Circe stepped back. A shadow of astonishment passed through her eyes, followed by another of calculation. The entire house seemed to hold its breath. The hero did not tremble, and that calm, more than the steel, was what shattered the balance of the room. Circe held Odysseus's gaze for a long moment. Then, with calculated slowness, she placed her wand on a cedar table and raised both hands, not in complete surrender, but in that kind of caution known only to the powerful when they find another power before them. "You are not an ordinary man," she murmured. "No mortal enters my house with such calm after drinking from my cup." Odysseus did not lower his sword. "Return them," he said, "to my companions now." The sorceress smiled faintly, as if the command amused and wounded her at the same time. Then she snapped her fingers. In the courtyard, behind a wooden door, a commotion of grunts and thuds could be heard. Eurylochus, who had stayed outside with the rest of the men, appeared at the entrance upon hearing the noise, but Odysseus signaled for him to wait. Circe advanced alone to the pen where the explorers lay transformed into pigs. She touched each one with the tip of her wand and uttered words that sounded like water poured over hot stone. First, they regained their human form, then their voices. Finally, their hands, trembling, opened as if waking from a viscous dream. One by one, they regained their shape, naked, embarrassed, and dazed, with the memory of the spell still clinging to their skin. When they finally recognized Odysseus, some cried silently. Others laughed with a strange, almost relieved laughter, and Eurylochus raised his eyes to the sky and murmured a prayer of thanks to the gods, as if he had returned from the very edge of the world. Circe then welcomed them, as if there had never been enmity. She ordered them to bathe, don clean tunics, and eat in her hall. The table was laden with bread, roasted meats, and fragrant wine. But this time the hospitality did not seem like a trap. It was a truce. Odysseus, though watchful, understood that iron would serve no purpose but words now. He sheathed his sword and accepted to sit, never forgetting for a moment that this woman could change a man's fate with a gesture. Days passed, and then nights. On the island, time became soft, as if the sea itself wanted to hold them. The men ate, slept, and regained their strength. Circe, for her part, ceased to be merely a threat. She spoke with Odysseus in private, and in her voice there was an ancient gravity, almost compassionate. She taught him which winds to avoid, which waters deceived the helmsman, and which shadow he should honor before continuing his journey. One night, under a clear sky filled with stars, she spoke to him about the journey that still awaited him. "If you want to return to Ithaca," she said, "you must first descend to the realm of the dead and seek the seer Tiresias. Only he can show you the path that does not kill the one who travels it." Odysseus fell silent. The news fell upon him like a stone in a bottomless well. He had defeated a sorceress, yes, but the true danger had not yet begun. Still, he did not retreat. His tired yet resolute eyes gazed into the darkness of the sea, where the next trial was already discernible. At dawn, when the island was left behind and the sails swelled with the wind, Circe stood on the shore, motionless and majestic. She no longer seemed merely an enemy, but a figure of destiny, terrible and necessary. Odysseus left her behind with a strange mix of relief and fear, knowing that thanks to her, a door had just opened to an even darker world.